Oftentimes, when you feel unheard, you're right. Oftentimes, we're expressing ourselves into a void where no one truly listens to anyone. The essence of our unheard voices isn't merely in the silence of our spoken words. The deeper hurt stems from being cut off before we can truly express ourselves. From conversations where the so-called listeners are just biding their time, eager to insert their own story into any pause. This isn't just about being unheard, it's about the deep disappointment of realizing that our words are merely background noise to someone else's monologue. Look at Mumtaz in this scene from the film Joyland. Mumtaz struggles as she's made to abandon her career at the makeup parlor, a place where her art and passion thrive and her identity flourishes. She's told to quit her art so she can help out at the house now that her husband Haider finally has a job of his own. Her feelings are evident and her words reflect them. She clearly says that she does not want to leave her job, but the deep-seated gender norms within her lower-income family dictate otherwise. She has no choice but to be obedient and quietly conform. Haider's inability to support her in this fight, bowing instead to his father's expectations, amplifies Mumtaz's isolation. She feels unheard, speaking into a void where no one truly listens to her. Wait, before we move forward, I'll illustrate my point through another example. Consider a crucial, yet seemingly minor scene preceding the confrontation. Brimming with the excitement of Haider's newfound employment, Mumtaz rushes to share the news with the family. She fails to fully grasp the full context of his role at the dance theatre. She wasn't listening. The sense of hurry in extracting information from incomplete expression and communication underscores a recurring theme in the film. Haider was hesitating when telling his wife about his job. Mumtaz should have gotten the hint, or at least waited long enough to listen to his explanation. Haider was not a manager at the dance theatre, but a background dancer to a transgender erotic dancer. Telling a traditional family like Rana family about the super unconventional job, especially during the presence of his father, would be close to suicide for Haider. If Mumtaz had listened to him long enough, maybe they would have decided not to announce Haider having a job at all. The failure to listen and understand fully leads to unintended consequences. Mumtaz has to now quit a job she so deeply loves. The family, like most other human groups in the world, is stuck in a cycle of failing to truly listen to each other. A cycle that leads to nothing but a false sense of honor at present and a lot of suffering down the road. Disclaimer time. It is important to note that there is a difference between listening and mere obedience. In no way am I trying to say that everyone's lives would be better if they complied with the rigid patriarchal dictates of Mr. Rana Manullah. Nor am I suggesting that Auntie Fiaz's life would be any better if she kept walking on eggshells to protect her son's hypocritical honor. True listening involves understanding and empathy, not submission and conformity to oppressive norms. I don't think the character struggles and conflicts in Joyland stem from a lack of obedience. They stem from the disconnects in genuine communication and understanding within their relationships. Joyland does a pretty realistic job of portraying the dynamics of a patriarchy within a lower-income Pakistani household. The film expertly presents varied forms of masculinity and societal expectations. Salim, Haider's older brother, represents the archetype of a strong, dependable man, yet his inability to produce a male heir weighs heavily on him. Our protagonist Haider, in contrast, embodies sensitivity and compassion, traits that continually subject him to emasculation and exploitation throughout the movie. Biba, for the lack of a better way to put it, is someone who wants to break away from this gender and wants to be, feel, and be treated as a woman. In a later part of the film, Biba tells Haider that when she saves enough money, she will undergo surgery to be more like a woman. When Biba shares his intimate aim with Haider, he tells her that he likes her the way she is, to which Biba gets pissed. Wait, what? Did she not like that the person she's involved with likes her for who she is and does not want her to change? Or maybe Haider did not properly listen to Biba's feelings about who she is on the inside and how she wants to look on the outside. The answer is probably both. After the trend of dual nationalities has arisen and now fallen, I give you dual misunderstanding. What do you mean they're the same thing? This moment between Haider and Biba encapsulates a dual misunderstanding. Haider's well-intentioned but misaligned comfort, and Biba's longing for acknowledgement of her identity, refusing to receive love for the way she is now. None of them is truly listening to each other. Okay, we get it. This film has a bunch of people not listening to each other. Is that why it is important? Well, yes and no. It would be a lie to say that this lesson in communication was the only thing that affected me in this movie. Even though the film shows so many examples of people not listening to each other, the film itself, ironically, does a great job of listening to something very important. Being part of a community suffocated by traditions, I was inadvertently ignorant of the ordeals of the transgender community in Pakistan. I caved into peer pressure and found myself averting my gaze every time I saw a member of the community approach me for alms. When I got older and was able to reason with my preconceived beliefs, I wondered why I almost feared them, looking away like avoiding a painful memory, a haunting image, or a strangeness that evokes anxiety. I came to eventually realize that this is a case of unfamiliarity begetting fear. It's a sentiment that resonates over cultures and time. When faced with the unknown, our minds conjure up irrational apprehensions and doubts. The movie Joyland remarkably succeeds in making one of the most marginalized voices in Pakistani society more known. By bringing Biba's story to the forefront, the film breaks the silence around the existence of transgender community in Pakistan, challenging both the hostility and indifference they face. In the society the film is based on, they are treated heinously by the cruel and fully ignored by the kind. People refuse to even look at them and acknowledge their presence and existence, as they feel so different from most, air quote, normal people. Unfamiliarity with this community breeds a strange fear, perpetuating stereotypes and misconceptions. Joyland subtly helps us peel back layers of prejudice and helps us discover a sense of shared humanity, showing us the similar hopes, dreams, and vulnerabilities that bind us all. In Pakistan, as elsewhere, transgender people have long existed on the fringes of society. Their history is rich and complex, intertwined with cultural, religious, and societal norms. They are neither mythical creatures nor mere ghosts. They are individuals with stories etched into their souls. Biba, her friend who was killed, the people she lived with, and those present at the marriage we are shown, all have stories etched into their souls. Imagine the courage it takes to navigate a world that often denies you basic rights, employment, healthcare, and above all, acceptance. Yet they persist, resilient and unyielding. Their existence challenges preconceptions, urging us to see beyond the familiar, to embrace the kaleidoscope of identities that color our world. I really appreciate director Saim Sadiq's effort to dismantle fear with understanding. Joyland's portrayal of the daily life of Lahore's transgender women, along with their dreams and their suffering, help us listen to their narratives and recognize their humanity. By doing so, we not only dispel ignorance, but also pave the way for compassion and empathy. Joyland is a beautifully made film and paves the way for this marginalized community's familiarity through their representation in art. However, the non-listeners always persist, unwilling to listen, unwilling to understand. The Pakistani government banned the film Joyland, despite it being the country's official entry for the Oscars and receiving global recognition, due to its highly objectionable material. Initially cleared by both provincial and central censor boards, a reversal was triggered by complaints, notably from a party leader seeking political clout by using religion and ignorant emotions. The controversy highlighted the clash between societal values and freedom of expression, with significant public debate and support for the film on social media. Heck, the film made a lot more money in Europe, mostly France. The film definitely shattered conventional boundaries and challenges the status quo of South Asian cinema. As I sat through the film, I was constantly jolted out of the narrative, not by shock tactics of typical thrillers, but by its audacious and unflinching portrayal of controversial themes within the Pakistani setting. Each scene, each daring twist in the storyline elicits a spectrum of reactions, from disbelief to admiration. This film wasn't just another entry in my list of yearly favorites, it was a revelation. Now, it's important to note that I personally hate how a lot of stories these days, especially in the West, try to shove any possible antithesis of straight man agenda down your throat. But stories like Joyland are not doing that. Movies like these give you a clearer picture of your society by highlighting things that have already been going on since time immemorial. The film is criticized for allegedly pushing a Western LGBT agenda, misunderstanding the difference between promotion and depiction. To clarify, promotion is about endorsing or supporting, while depiction simply shows or brings awareness. Despite personal reservations about how modern narratives often oppose traditional views, Joyland isn't guilty of this. Instead, it offers a reflective look at societal realities, spotlighting issues that have been present forever. I understand that some explicit scenes in the film are too much for the film industry of the region it was made in. Some of these scenes shocked me, prompting me to ask again and again how a movie like this was ever produced in Pakistan. However, once you get past that, you see how important this film is. You see how stunning this film is.